It took me 54 years to learn what I can absolutely tell you in 5 minutes. And if I had any advice to give to my younger self, you know what that advice would be to my younger self? It would be to know your value. Know your value and learn it early. Figure that out early. Not knowing your value will cost you so much. It will cost you years. It will cost you just yeah. It took me 54 years to realize that what not knowing your value, the toll that it will take on your life. So, anyway, and I don't have any long, elaborate, profound things to say. But what I can say is while you're young, figure it out. While you are in your some of the best years of your life. And that's not to say that when you get to a certain age that things don't even, don't get even better. Yes, they do. However, you start to think about how much time you've got left. You know what I mean? And maybe you shouldn't think like that, but that's the natural thing to do. You're like, okay, I've got more years behind me than I have in front of me. So what do I do with this time? And you don't want to live in regret. You don't want to be in a position in your life and say, well, I should have done this or I should have done that. You don't want to, you just don't want to be in a place of playing catch up. Okay. That's just the East Coast bottom line. You don't want to be in a position where you're playing catch up. And so, figuring out your worth early is critical. It's critical. And that's not to say that if you do know your worth, things can't happen, because they can. But it compounds when you don't, ask for the right salaries and read your contracts thoroughly, and you're so excited for a position that you just take whatever it is that they have. And yeah, you do have to work your way up in some stuff, but after a while you have to look at is this an equitable situation? And so not knowing your worth can have you spinning your wheels for just a lot of time, and then when you finally do decide to pivot, you actually have to grieve a little bit that you didn't pivot earlier, because maybe it would have been easier. I don't know, and everything is a case by case situation. But what I do know is that sometimes we stay too long in situations, and not knowing our worth is directly tied to that. So again, hopefully you made it to the end of the video. I said it was going to be a short video, and I said, it was going to be in 5 minutes or less. I probably should have said 5 minutes or less, but because we haven't even reached the 5-minute mark. But it's just that simple. Figure out your worth. Look yourself in the mirror and come to terms with who you are, whose you are, what you have to offer, and make sure that every situation that you're in, from friendships to church ships to business ships, work ships, all the ships, make sure they're equitable. Make sure they're equitable. And yeah, just know your worth. So anyway, thanks guys. It's your girl Felicia. Hit the subscribe button if you want to hear more journeys to, reinventing our lives at any age and at any stage, because you can be any age and you can be at any stage. You can be much younger and you can be much more seasoned than I am, but you can reinvent your life at any point in time. You just have to understand, A, how did we get here, and B, what do we need to do to to make it what we want it to be. So anyway, thank you guys so much. Let me know in the comments, if you're in the middle of your pivot or anything like that. Let me know in the comments if you agree with what I said, or if you've got a different take on it. I want to hear what you have to say as well. So thank you so much for watching. It's your girl Felicia, and until the next video.